We created the multiverse in our hubris, each world with a singular purpose serving the whole. The underworld, full of life, bursting with resources. The overworld, orderly, a factory world with everything in its perfect place. The hyperworld, where science and art spun out to the limits of inspiration. And Prime, the center, organizing it all. Prime, where we enjoyed what we'd wrought. For a while, but we lost control. The hyperworld went first. Its citizens changed themselves beyond recognition into superior beings, the E-word. The machines rose up and overthrew us in the overworld. And the underworld fell into chaos, ravaged by beasts, grown to massive size by the same life energies that had made the world so fertile and so rich. What's happening now is worse. Without Prime to organize it, the multiverse fell out of balance. It's collapsing, a chain reaction that will destroy us all. It's too late to stop it. Our only hope is to control the collapse, to fuse the universes back into one, save what we can. Maya, you're the only one who can travel all four worlds fast enough to make it happen. Will you help us?
I will.
Trinity Fusion was one of those games I grabbed on a whim at some point. I like Metroidvanias, I like roguelikes, and I liked what I saw in the game's Steam page. So I picked it up and eventually booted it up, and frankly, it's pretty decent. I don't think this game is going to blow anyone's socks off, but at the same time it does some pretty cool things with the way it weaves in multiversal shenanigans. I know. That word fills me with dread too lately as an MCU fan. But the way the multiversal stuff intertwines with Metroidvania progression, it's pretty interesting. Let's talk about it. A general summary of Trinity Fusion is that you play as Maya. Well, technically you play as her parallel selves. There are three of them. Altera, Kara, and Naira. As you navigate through each of you get it, worlds. Your ultimate goal is to turn on these machines called harmonizers in each of those three parallel worlds so that the multiverse can essentially merge into a single world without fully collapsing on itself. Otherwise, the universe is essentially doomed as it is. I didn't think much of the story at first, but the further along I went with the game, the more invested I got. You know, the usual thing that you get. Some stories don't hit you immediately, but they'll hit you at the halfway point, that kind of thing. By the end of it all, I wouldn't say that I was blown away or anything, but I am interested to see if it goes anywhere in a future game or something, if there's a follow-up, at least. What did make me intrigued was how the game plays. As I said earlier, I like Metroidvanias. In fact, I am, present Daryl, you get it, timey-wimey shenanigans, is likely playing Silksong at the moment since that game released between the last video and this one. So expect a review on that in the future. But that doesn't mean I'm good at Metroidvanias necessarily. That said, I've played enough of them to feel comfortable enough to play Trinity Fusion on veteran difficulty instead of the survivor difficulty. Survivor difficulty in a nutshell is essentially just easy mode and is more forgiving, while the veteran mode is intended for people who are used to Metroidvanias.
The engineers? They're actually real? Look, if you can get me out of here, I'll help with anything. What's the emergency?
I'll explain as we go. It's about the whole multiverse. First, we need to get a device. A lens. It should be north of here. Keep going.
The hardcore difficulty isn't unlocked until you complete the first run, or specifically, defeating the final boss of your first run. You can change the difficulty at any time, and there are a decent amount of options you can select to customize your gaming experience. Some make the game easier beyond the selected difficulty, and others make the game more difficult. Why'd I put emphasis on the word difficult like that? Anomalies are the latter in that equation. I didn't mess with the anomalies, but they're essentially just challenge modifiers for your runs that will net you some extra currency if you feel like you need it, but honestly, just playing the game naturally will get you there just fine. Playing the game itself works like this. Select a parallel version of Maya, then start in her respective world. Once there, you'll get weapons and gear from chests and defeating enemies. Traversal abilities seem to be tied to the character that you're playing, but no need to worry about that because you can find lenses in each world that will give you the ability to temporarily merge with another parallel version of Maya. Doing so will give you a random assortment of basic abilities and or a weapon that Maya would have, and allow you to use it as a third weapon to your arsenal. Frankly, I thought this was really cool and a great alternative way to progress your build based on whatever you think you need for your run. I will say though, don't expect the worlds to change that much. Like, the most progression you have, the most control you have over where you go for those worlds is which parallel world you're jumping to based on which gate you want to go through. Either the in-between, which can take you to other branches, or you can just keep going through the door at the end of each level to progress on the same track that you're on. Yes, I think sometimes you find another door that will get you to a different track, but I don't really recall that very much. Either way around, the worlds are not that random. Like, how they're structured in each level is a bit random, but once you've seen the worlds enough, you'll get an idea of where you need to go, what kind of setup it is, and you'll get used to it. The game has a good selection of melee weapons, elemental powers, and guns for you to use in various combinations. They will fall out of favor at some point, and by that I mean the gun that you had in the first level of whatever world or branch you're operating in is not going to be as effective by the second world, so you're encouraged to pick up new weapons as often as possible. But there are amplifiers that you can find throughout each level during a run to add different modifiers to Maya. I'm just going to use Maya as a collective statement rather than picking a random name out of the hat of Mayas. At some point, you'll also be able to upgrade the weapons that you do have, so if you do have a favorite that you want to hold on to, then you can spend the currency that you find in each level on upgrading that weapon, or if you have enough, multiple of the weapon, elemental power, or gun, or whatever you may have. It's really up to you at the end of the day. Now, the enemies themselves aren't too difficult to fight as a whole, but there are definitely some annoying ones, like those stupid shield enemies that you have to dodge through to attack them from behind sometimes. Like, they're not difficult to handle, but you know, you're trying to just attack and they're like, oh, I have my shield up, you're gonna have to dodge through me the moment I'm trying to attack you. And some of them later are gonna have like some sort of elemental ability attached to them, so now you have to like account for that too, and it's just an annoyance. They're not bad in the slightest. I just have a bone to pick with them. Oh, real quick, I will spoil this mechanic for you. There is a parry combat upgrade that you can purchase in the Citadel. That's the game's hub between runs. You should definitely get that. The parry window is extremely generous, and when enemies get parried, they not only get staggered, but they also take significant damage. It takes a second to actually trigger it, but otherwise it's very useful and doesn't require Sekiro levels of timing and accuracy. Before I close out, I will say the boss fights were tricky for me on occasion, but that's mostly because I'm impatient and don't have the time to wait for windows of opportunity. I will make that window myself, which is hilariously why I struggle with Souls-like games sometimes, and apparently Metroidvanias as well. Patience is not my virtue. But don't you like them there survival horror games where you have to be patient and methodical? Quiet. Ultimately, Trinity Fusion is a great looking game that's a lot of fun, and I can definitely recommend it to people looking for another roguelike or Metroidvania fix after you finish Silksong. So it gets a go for it from me. Now for the elephant in the room, we're approaching spooky season while Mariah Carey is thawing out or something. So expect there to be a survival horror game review every Wednesday of October. Yep, every Wednesday of October. So until then, I hope you all have enjoyed your stay. I'm TUSDarryl. and I'll catch you guys later.